How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the big thing. It's Wednesday. It's a special live edition of the big thing. And yeah, Kalinowski will be here in just a moment. He's catching up on the trailers that we're going to talk about here today. But I'm glad that you guys are joining us. I'm glad that you guys are here. We're just still in the transition between New York and LA, and things got kind of, I guess, miscommunication. So we'll have Mike and Steph both back in studio next week, and Mike will be in momentarily on the live stream. So we're gonna do the same thing that we do for Mondays. You guys, we'll go through all the topics that are on the docket today, and then you guys can put in your questions. If you have any super chats, throw them in there, and we will get to them by as soon as the topics are over, and we'll be here until you're done asking. So, what do we have today? Well, as you saw when you clicked on it, Deadpool and Wolverine, the latest movie from the MCU, got a lot of weight on its shoulders. And not only now because of the obvious of can it pick back up the MCU, who's been kind of floundering a little bit, but now the question is, can it pick up a kind of a hurting box office for the summer? I mean, for the year, but for the summer for sure. And you look at, we'll kind of dive into some of the stuff with Falll Guy and some of the things that happen with Furiosa and Garfield and Apes and everything too. So we'll talk about all that stuff and see if Deadpool and Wolverine can save the box office, at least for the summer. We think it's got an opportunity to do that. Something I didn't put in the description because it just dropped. You guys know my involvement and my passion for the Masters of the Universe movie. Well, it looks like they once again cast a new He-Man. Will this one actually stick? Will this version of the movie actually happen? We'll talk about that. There's some new trailers. The trailers for Wolves with George Clooney and Brad Pitt. New trailer for Moana 2. The Acolyte is not too far away. Will it deliver? Can it deliver? Some people say it's good. Some people say I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know. So we'll talk about that. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere podcasts are found. You can do it all. So make sure you do that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done it already. I had a great interview with Thomas Jane yesterday. That was awesome. If you haven't checked that out on the channel, please do so. But it is time for the show. It's me. It's Mike Kalinowski. Here we go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the show. The Big Thing Show. Myself and this character, Mike Kalinowski. What's up, Mike?
You working? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. How you doing?
I'm fucking having a morning, buddy. I'll tell you that much.
Good cursing right off the bat. I like
we live?
We're live.
F it, we'll do it live.
F it, we'll do it live. So yeah, and I'm able to actually not have to worry about the music through the freaking StreamYard. I can run it through my OBS now. And then once I get running up in New York, I have this other program that I'm gonna be using. But it's good to have you on the show. How have things been?
Good, man. I feel I haven't seen you in a while. How you been?
It's good. Yeah, you're just getting ready. And I think, like I said, I thought we were going to be in studio today, but we didn't. It didn't work. We'll be back next week.
Look at you, that fresh cut and everything. Look at you.
I know, right?
And I'm looking like a hobo over here.
You're all right. I saw I saw Bike Riders last night.
Oh yeah.
I can't give it a review yet of it, but I just give my initial thoughts. I said I wanted it to be great. It was good.
What was your thoughts on what came out?
Furiosa?
Oh yeah.
I liked Furiosa. I understand it. I guess that kind of will lead us into this topic. Let's just get right into it.
Let's get into it. Let's dive into it.
Let's start with the news here. Well, no, that one we won't do that one just yet. We'll do this one. So Deadpool and Wolverine right now. This is a movie that has a lot on its shoulders, as I said in the intro. You got the MCU that it's trying to revitalize and start the multiverse thing, getting people excited about it. But now with the summer season the way it is, it's pretty tough. Falll Guy didn't do that well. Apes did okay. Garfield did okay. Furiosa did bad. So the question is now, can this movie not only save the MCU, can it save the summer box office? And Mike, I don't know, man. What do you think? Can this movie alone start to pick it up? Because this has been the most disappointing 2024. This has been one of the most disappointing years, and easily one of the worst Mays, if not the worst May in box office history.
They said it was like the worst Memorial Day weekend in like 30 years.
Yeah.
Like since the 90s. I don't know, dude. I don't know what's going on. I don't know, man. I ain't got no answers for this one because like Fall Guy's great. Furiosa, everyone's loving it. These movies that are not doing well, the people that see them are loving them. And the critics are raving about them. Someone made a good point.
Answers are easy. Go ahead.
What do you think? What's your answers?
I was talking to one of our patrons
Yeah.
yesterday, and it's the same. There's a lot of different reasons, and one of the main reasons is that for you and I, we're in the movie bubble, right? We're in the
sphere,
movie,
yeah,
we're in the sphere. So you're a movie guy. You're not single, but you don't have children, right? So,
right.
So you'll go on it. But even so, if you're going to go on a date night with your lady, you know, it's like it's going to cost you a penny. But you, for the most part, if it's something you want to see, you know, you'll probably see maybe 2-3 movies a month, right?
Yeah, minimum. Yeah,
right. So the average, just everyday person who's not in the sphere, is not doing that. They're looking at and it used to be like that, but now with all the entertainment and everything else that's going out there, they look at they look for that month and they go, okay, if I'm going to choose one out of these that I've seen, do I want to see Falll Guy? Do I want to see Apes? Do I want to see Furiosa? Or do I want to take the kids and go see Garfield? Like, what do I do here? And this particular guy that I was talking to, he said he's a big Apes fan. He's a huge Apes fan. He knew that he was going to see Apes no matter what, and that was his movie for May. And he said that I had heard everybody raving about Falll Guy, but all that made me realize is that will be something that once it comes on whatever it is, it's already on demand, but when it's on actually like HBO Max or whatever it is, when that comes out, now he's got something to watch with his wife that he knows. Oh, I heard this was good. Let's watch this tonight.
Yeah,
spend the money for it.
I don't know, man. I'm torn because a lot of people in LA post their ticket prices, and out here it's outrageous for a movie. It's ridiculous. But like some people post pictures from like, you know, Iowa, and it's like still like $8 on a Saturday night. Like, I don't know. I see a lot of people talking about how the movie going experience is awful now, as far as people that 30 minutes of trailers, which is ridiculous. And then people talking, people on their phones, that culture of watching movies gone.
Yes, that's another point.
Someone made a great point. This is something I never think about. Two different things. One, they always say, well, look at every single month, people are still spending $150 going to a sporting event.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, you know, families taking the kids. I'm going to take my kids to the ballpark.
Not once a month, but not once a month.
I don't know about that. I don't know. But here's the bigger one. And this is something that I don't, you know, I want to believe that movie theaters are never going away, but someone made a great point. They go, this feels to me, they said, like the mid to late 90s of the arcade, where it got to the point where arcades, and I remember it because I was in college, we were in college, arcades, you know, people talk about a communal experience, going to the movie theater. Yeah, going to play video games is a communal experience. I remember putting my quarters up for Mortal Kombat and spending 4 hours at the arcade to play Mortal Kombat. But then in the mid 90s, the home game systems got better, and they started putting Mortal Kombat at home, and you're just like, so theaters, all they have to offer right now is a bigger screen. That is it.
Sounds pretty good too, man.
But I guarantee you can get some sound.
You can get some great sound.
Sound at home.
You can get some great surround sound. There's no doubt. But I mean, I've got a good surround sound system here, but I'm not going to get the kind of.
Sure, I get it.
Like when I saw Furiosa and the revving up of the engines and those things.
Oh, I'll tell you, the Prime Theater at AMC with the Batman and that Batmobile sequence.
Right. There's certain movies, but what I'll say to that point, what you made there is that I think that there's definitely and this is one of the reasons that I've kept hammering down the point that budgets need to change, because you can't sustain on what you're doing here with $170 million Furiosa movie, and you're not even cracking 60 million or whatever it is worldwide. But I don't think that the movie theater experience will ever die, because I think it'll more turn into, in the same way that Broadway never died out, right?
Sure, you're right.
Because I just think that they've got to be more limited, because back in the day it was, let's go see everything. Everybody, you could put 4 or 5 movies out in a weekend. Let's go see it, because of the streaming, because of video games, because of things on your phone, because of VR. There's just so much to watch now and so much entertainment at your disposal that you really gotta want. That was my point with the Apes comment before, is that you've got to really want it. And when people like that's why I'm talking about Deadpool and Wolverine. That movie is going to make $1 billion, even more so now. I think even more so.
Yeah, I mean, Drew McWeeny made a good point. He was tweeting out. He's like, when he used to work at a theater,
he makes good points.
Yeah, he says people sometimes on a Friday night would just show up and go, all right, well, that's kind of close to, that's a place that starts in about 15 minutes. Let's go see that. They didn't even care. They just showed up at the movie theater to see a movie. And then you just kind of like, oh, okay, that time looks good. I heard something about that. That sounds good. Let's go watch this. Now it is that, well, I've got one movie a month I'm going to see, and Deadpool's coming out next month. And that's the one that's the must see. I got to see that in the biggest screen, and the spoilers are going to happen right away. So I don't want to be spoiled. Like Falll Guy, that's a movie I think 3-4 months from now. Man, why didn't anyone tell me this was so good? This is a great movie. I'm having fun with this thing when people are watching it at home.
But I think they're going to be, that's the point of it, is because there's so many of these movies now, really good movies that you can see on streaming, that movie unfortunately seems like a streaming movie now.
Sure does.
It doesn't seem like a movie that you're like, oh, I gotta go see this in the theater. And that was my point with like the Broadway comparison, is that what movies do you like? I cannot miss this in the theater. Like Dune was a movie that people couldn't miss in the theater. That's why.
Wouldn't you think Furiosa would be that?
Well, I mean, the last Mad Max movie, the Fury Road movie, it did good. It didn't do good, but the difference between Dune and Furiosa is that Dune was a continuation. It was a part 2 of a story that led people on their edge of the seat of the first one going, oh my God, what happens next? Furiosa, and this is coming from somebody who liked the movie. Furiosa was a movie that no one was really asking for this particular character to have her own film. I like that she got her own film, but it wasn't even the same actress. It was a different actress who's not a major star. She's a great actress, but she's not a major star. And so putting that and saying, okay, here's a $170 million movie with a character that was, it's not even Mad Max, it's Furiosa. Here's her own movie, and it's a prequel for this person. I think, and again, coming from someone who liked the movie, I think that if you would have done a Charlize Theron, Tom Hardy movie again as a sequel, that movie does better financially. I don't know if it would have been better overall, but it plays better financially.
Yeah, and again, I think that goes to us with the sphere we're in, because I remember Comic-Con, I think it was 2014, it's my first one, I think, and they did Mad Max the trailer. Yeah, and that room went ballistic. Like, I'm like, why is everyone loving this? Like, those 3 original movies, they kind of suck.
What?
The 3 Mad Max movies? Oh, come on, get out of here. They're not bad, but they're not.
First one I'll give you is dated. I tried to watch the first one, but
your little thing you did there for a couple of years made me have to watch those.
Which one?
The Schmodown. They threw Mad Max into the inner geekdom, so I had to watch those.
Road Warrior is awesome. Come on,
but so I like, but then again, it is a smaller, like, and looking back, I didn't think about it. It did okay. It didn't do gangbusters. Fury Road.
Right.
I mean, I'm Fury Road. I'm kind of like with Dune. I'm like, this is an incredible piece of movie making that I'm like, how do they do this? The characters in the world just leave me cold. I don't grab.
And I think that plays towards a lot of people. And I think that's what the box office said, and I think that there's a reason why, but, and that's, as you lead into, I think that, to me, it's not just Deadpool and Wolverine that can save the summer box office. It's the kids' movies, because you look at If as an example. If started out and people were like, did it okay. And then when I went this past weekend on a Sunday afternoon, it was packed.
In LA?
In LA.
Like here or at New York?
In LA. And it's starting, and it's like, okay, that one to me has legs, because it's a kids movie, in the same way that Garfield has already made $100 million.
Has it really?
Made worldwide.
Wow. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on, like, because before, back in the day, we used to give a movie 3-4 weeks to find it. It was like TV shows, like, you get 2 or 3 seasons to find your audience. Now, after 2 nights, it's failure. Like, because all these box office pundits Friday morning, nope, it's gonna be tanking for the box office. And then people, like, even if it's like Friday to Saturday numbers jumped, and people are like, wow, it's almost like the kids were in school on Friday and now they're not.
Right. Well, I mean, I think that there's it's back to the same original point of the the box office has changed, the movie theater industry has changed, so like you can predict what people are coming out to see, and and it's different where we've made this point when it comes to like streaming shows.
Yeah.
When people say a streaming show is a failure off of a weekend, or the ratings are down after like the first 3 weeks, I'm like, Battlestar Galactica has people finding it now, and it's a hit again. So like the streaming show, they want to do like Andor's numbers are down, it's not a hit, and then yet it starts getting nominated for everything, and people start going back and watching it, so they heard it was good. Streaming shows you can't treat in the same way you treat movies, because movies you tell on that box office, and it's like then something else comes out, and you look at the drop. It's the drop that tells you. Like look at like Aquaman 2 is an example, right? Aquaman 2 looked like, oh well, that movie didn't start out too well, and then but the drop from the second week wasn't that big, and then it's consistent. That movie, I think it wound up either breaking even or maybe even making.
I think it did. You look at the numbers. I think Aquaman 2 was successful for DC at the time.
Considering A, how it started, B, all the other financial disasters they had. That is a major win for them, that they were able to do what you were just talking about, sustain. But the difference is, look at when it came out. It came out in December.
Yeah.
So nothing to pick at it. Right, maybe Wonka, but that's another movie. It was another Warner Brothers movie anyway. But there's nothing to pick at it in the way that Falll Guy comes out, and then it's like, oh, you don't have a good weekend. See you later. Here comes Apes. And then Apes is going to wind up, I think, either breaking even or doing a profit. Which right now, unfortunately, that's a win. If you can in this summer season, if you can just break even right now, that's a win.
Yeah,
man, it's interesting. So whether or not Deadpool and Wolverine can do it, I think that it's Deadpool and Wolverine, and then it's the kids' movies, because as I mentioned with If goes and makes some money, Garfield makes some money, Inside Out is going to crush, Despicable Me is going to crush, and there's
those Despicable Me's this summer too.
Yeah, man, that's the other chance. That movie is the other potential $1 billion maker.
What kind of is frustrating to me is the fact that all this does is reinforce the studios. Well, we're going to give you superheroes. We're going to give you animated movies. Like, if you look at the month of May, that was a nice change of pace for different stuff. Yes, I know Apes is an IP, and I know Falll Guy's an IP per se, but half the audience who went to see Falll Guy didn't know that was based on a TV show.
Right?
So you're not. It's not a Marvel. It's not a DC. It's not a Potter.
Right.
They're different. And Apes. Yes, it's a franchise, but they're these it's hard to describe, but like I'm glad If's doing great. I'm glad that it's not for me. I probably won't ever see it, but
it's not doing great, but it's not
good.
It's not a disaster, and because it goes back to the original point of the kids' movies can be events for the family because there's not a lot of options, right? And then because there's so many, like Falll Guy is in part of a place where there's a lot of different options. Kids movies, there's not a lot of options, and the summer is the best time to see them, whether it's If, Despicable Me, Garfield, Inside Out. Like that's all stuff that I'm going to take my kids to see, and a lot of families will take their kids to see it. And
that's a good point, because Nathan, my best friend, you know, like he had a family, 3 kids, wife, and back in the day when they were all younger, I remember I would give him shit because he'd be like, "Yeah, we went and saw the new Disney movie," and I was like, "Did you see the new Mission Impossible?" I haven't gotten to it yet.
Right.
I was like, "What the?" Because he's a Mission Impossible guy. I'm like, "What do you mean you didn't see it yet?" He's like, "Well, we got the kids. Wait to see the Disney movie." I'm like,
"Well, you don't understand."
He's like, "I'll catch it maybe by myself one day." I'm like, "That's it. I get it, man."
That's how, and that is how it works. And I feel like if I didn't do this and I didn't go to press screenings, I would be in the same boat as Nathan. Same boat, because it's like you can get out of the house when you can get out of the house, and if your kids can't see the movies with you, or your significant other isn't into the one that you want to see, you don't see it.
But that's that's not new.
No,
for the history of box office,
no,
there's always been families and kids, and so
absolutely. But couple that with the idea now of streaming with those families that now can say, hey. That Falll Guy just hit. Why don't we stay home today? We'll make some popcorn, we'll order a pizza, and we'll do that. You save yourself some money on the concessions. You watch a movie that people said was good. And I mean, look at that big argument in the Roadhouse movie, right? Of how they wanted to go between streaming and theatrical. It's because
that's a streamer though.
It's a streamer, but
I enjoyed it. but
Yeah,
it's a streamer.
But that movie, if it's made in 1998, is a $60 million, $50 million movie you put in the theater and you take a shot to see what you can do.
If that,
Hell,
you make that thing with 35 million.
yeah, right. Whatever it
And
might
you make a profit easily.
easily.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
yeah. So whether or not I think that I do think that the movies that Disney has right now have the opportunity to put some money back into it, and then I'm sure there's some other the bigger ones that are coming out in the
I
summer.
can't remember what else is coming out this summer. Bad
There's
Boys, right?
Bad Boy. I'm glad you brought up Bad Boys, because Bad Boys and Twisters are the two movies that could wind up having A, good box office, and B, really surprising box office. Like if Bad Boys, because if the last Bad Boys was pretty damn good,
I enjoyed it.
It was really good, and like I said, everybody always wants to see someone fall off a pedestal, but they also want to see him climb back up. Yeah. So if Will Smith is now, I believe that the public majority has said, yeah,
I think so. Yeah,
it's over. We'll go check this out. I don't think there's anybody going, we're not going to see this because he slapped Chris Rock anymore, because also Chris Rock slapped him verbally now back so many different times.
They're kind of like
they're even.
All right.
Yeah. So and it doesn't bother me at all. I will not be thinking about it at all.
No, I don't.
I want to see the movie, and if the movie's good and it delivers, that would be great. In the same way that Twisters is interesting to me, because I thought the trailers were fine, but people really loved that first movie. I showed my wife that trailer. She was so excited that there was a sequel. She had no idea, and now she wants to see that one. So I don't know. I don't know if that one will deliver.
Like, I enjoyed the first one, but
yeah.
What are you going to show me that we didn't see in the first movie? They're tornadoes.
The same movie, dude. You're going to see the same movie, but the question is are you going to get the 18 to 24-year-olds to see that basically for the first time and then want to go back and revisit it in the way that like Top Gun Maverick did, right? Like Top Gun Maverick, I remember so many people who were like, I never really seen the first one. I thought the first one was cheesy, coming out of that movie going, wow, that was just incredible. I don't even care if I've ever seen the first one. I don't need to. Yeah. And I wonder if they're going to do the same with Twisters. But and Glenn Powell, the question is, what is he? Can he?
I think in this movie, to back him up, because I really like him. I'm seeing a lot of kind of backlash against him, but I like that guy. But you're not going to see this movie for him.
No. You're going for
you're going to see giant tornadoes throwing cows everywhere and setting yourself on fire.
Of course. And it's like one of those events movies, and that movie will say a lot about the box office. It really will, because
it'll be interesting
if that movie delivers. Because say what you will about Marvel, we know that I think you and I are both on the same page that it's been kind of subpar since maybe No Way Home, right?
Subpar, yes, you're right. But I've been there every opening weekend still, because they have the goodwill.
That's my point. My point is that you and I are on the same point of subpar, but the box office needs Marvel movies, because even something like,
you want to say it or not, it sure does.
Even something like the Marvels still made like $400 or $300 million, if that, but still, made $300 million, whatever it was. And it was a disaster. It lost money, but it still got Black Adam, which is a DC movie, made, I think people, when I said 400, they said, no, it didn't. Let's say 350, whatever. Those movies, and their budget should be lower, but they're still putting in, $200 to $300 million in the box office. And then the other one is Doctor Strange made like $800 million.
And I think Thor did too. Thor made like 7-something.
Thor made, and that movie sucks.
Yeah.
And so,
I'll tell you this:
it needs the Marvel movies. The box office.
The true test, I think, will be Deadpool's an outlier, like, because this hype is kind of reaching that level of it's unstoppable at this time. Because then there's going to be almost a year before Cap 4, and that movie has had such bad luck with it and bad press, and that will be the one. Because I know people are talking about this shift and the reset and stuff, and people are looking, but like this Agatha thing. This was all pre them stopping. That train was going. So these kind of projects that are in limbo that like are part of the old kind of Marvel that they're trying to change, like Deadpool is its own thing. I think the Marvel movie after Deadpool, that will be the true test to see if the audience have cooled on Marvel.
I couldn't agree more.
Look at that.
I totally agree. All right. So before we move on to our next topic, I do want to first of all say thank you to you guys. I see people are putting in those super chats, and Mike and I will take all the questions as soon as all the topics are over. And before we move on, as I've told you guys each and every show. We are so blessed to have you guys here. We're blessed to have our sponsors. Let me tell you about two of them right now. Here's BetterHelp and Rocket Money. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And BetterHelp, as you know, we've had people on the show and talked about Roxy. Roxy talks about it all the time. We've helped many times over, and it's helpful to people in my household and other things. It's been a very, very big benefit overall. We all carry around different stress, whether it's big and small. You can keep your emotions bottled up, but the problem is, and I can tell you personally, it can affect you negatively. Therapy is a safe space to get things off your chest and figure out how to work through whatever is weighing you down. If you are thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's online, and it's designed to be convenient, it's flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You fill out a brief questionnaire, you get matched with a licensed therapist, and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Get it off your chest with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/bigthing today, and you'll get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp.com/bigthing. Now, I have I've raved about Rocket Money forever, and you got to stop wasting money on things that you don't like and things you don't use. Cancel those unwanted subscriptions, and you go to rocketmoney.com/thing. I have been using Rocket Money for, I can't even tell you, way before they were even a sponsor. And it's great because it'll give me updates. It'll tell me when I have big bills that are coming up that I need to pay. And just if there's certain things like these are subscriptions that you've signed up for that you don't need, you don't use them. Do you want us to cancel them? And they'll cancel you for you. They give you a good breakdown. I'm not the most organized person in the world, but I'll tell you, through Rocket Money, I have been, and I love it. And that's why they've been with us for so long. So once again, go to rocketmoney.com. rocketmoney.com/thing and sign up today, guys. It is amazing and you'll love it, I promise you. All right, thank you to both BetterHelp. This episode was sponsored by BetterHelp and Rocket Money. I'm glad that they're with us, and as I've mentioned to you guys, thank you for someone yesterday sent me a DM, and I'm assuming that you're watching right now, that you signed up to Rocket Money yesterday, and thank you for doing so. Does help out the show tremendously. All right, so Mike, the other thing I was going to tell you is that this morning I was putting together the stories, and I saw this thing from Variety about He-Man. Did you see this?
I didn't. No, I had a rough morning this morning.
What happened?
I got up. I've been working doubles lately, and I went to bed at like 3, and I had to be up at like 8, and the damn dogs went nuts and this and that.
It's just a whole thing.
It's life.
It's just a whole
How
thing.
You guys deal with kids? I can't do it. I got dogs. And
it's not the best. It's the best. All right, let's get to
He-Man, right? Another He-Man, another studio, another director.
Well, let's see. Let's see what the actual deal is here with He-Man. Okay, so this was reported by Variety, I think, today. I think so. Let me read what. Oh, Deadline. Excuse me, Deadline.
Who's this guy?
So this is the guy that was in that movie with Anne Hathaway, Nicholas Galitzine, to play He-Man in Amazon, MGM, and Mattel's Masters of the Universe. So following the huge success of his Prime Video rom-com, The Idea of You, and Red, White, and Royal Blue, Nicholas Galitzine, we'll get it right one of these days, is staying in business with Amazon MGM as he's been tapped to star as He-Man in the live-action Masters of the Universe flick from the studio and Mattel. While long awaited, details as to the film plot are under wraps. Based on the iconic franchise from Mattel, it'll be directed by Travis Knight, who's working from a script by Chris Butler, David Callahan, Aaron Nee, and Adam Nee, worked on an earlier draft. Masters of the Universe will be produced by escape artist Todd Black, Jason Blumenthal, and Stephen Teich, as well as Mattel Films' Robbie Brenner. Previously developed at Sony, Netflix, the film will be released exclusively in theaters worldwide on June 5th, 2026. Catering on the battle between the heroic He-Man, the universe's most powerful man, and Skeletor, the Masters of the Universe was introduced by way of popular action figures in 1982. A year later, the animated series He-Man and the Masters of the Universe premiered, became one of the first children's programs to be syndicated on TV during its 2-season run. Several other films and television adaptations followed, and today the franchise continues to span such consumer touchpoints as toys and video games. We are thrilled to bring the beloved Masters universe to life and couldn't be more excited to announce the immensely talented Nicholas Galitzine as our He-Man, said Julia Rappaport, head of film production at Amazon. Joining forces with Travis Knight, Mattel, and escape artist, the reintroduction to the character and his universe will be an epic film that will delight audiences from here to Eternia. There's a lot more on the article itself where they talk about his performances and everything too. And so every single time that there has been a movie, I'll tell you, with now going back to the history of this, I know some people, if you're new to the show, you'll hear this for the first time. And if you've been following for a while, you're bored to death of the story, but I'm going to give the most condensed version of it as I can. I literally just had this conversation with my friend David Gambino I had lunch with. And when I was at Silver, the script was in turnaround. I had a chance when I was there. I looked at it. It was John Woo's script. It was terrible. I brought it to Susan Downey and she was like, the script is terrible. I said, yes, it is. But if you did science meets magic, Lord of the Rings meets Star Wars, you could really turn this into something. Then I went to the financiers over at Village Roadshow. The guy that was there got it. The main person that was running it didn't. So then I went to Legendary. And then when I went to Legendary, there was a guy there who was working on me, Riley, and this guy were working on this treatment for Masters of the Universe for weeks. And the guy's like, I'm so into it. This is perfect. This is going to work. I'll take it to Thomas Tull. It's going to be big. And then out of nowhere, the guy calls me and says, oh, we have Conan the Barbarian. We can't do this anymore. I'm like, where did that come from? You didn't just get Conan. So whatever.
Where'd that come from?
So I was working with Jennison and Strickland, who are guys that I found that basically replaced Joss Whedon at Warner Brothers with their Wonder Woman script. They were friends. I found them. They found the script, and then the script was bought by Warner Brothers, and they were like kind of like hot shots at the time. So I was like, you know what? So maybe my friend Naveed McElargy, we sat down, we started working on a take with them. We got a phone call from Justin Marks' agent. And Justin Marks is a badass, and I love Justin Marks. Justin Marks just did Shogun. Justin Marks did Top Gun Maverick. Justin Marks is a boss, and I love Justin Marks. But his agent goes, hey, this guy from Legendary brought Justin Marks this He-Man thing, which is in turnaround. So the guy who we were working with basically ripped it off and went to Justin, who Justin didn't know. And Justin wrote a great treatment, and then they wound up taking it, and I almost choked this guy out.
Was Justin's script, was that Grayskull? Grayskull.
Oh, I think that was Grayskull. Was
I read one of those that was really good.
Yeah, I think Grayskull was the one. Maybe it was. I can't remember. Maybe
it was good. But whoever did it that was a good one.
I think so. But either way, the idea was science and magic, and then it all. Joel Silver didn't know how to do it. He didn't know what the hell it was. What is it? Purple tiger? We're pissed. What? He didn't know.
He's a kid, and he becomes.
No, the studio executives didn't know, and I was like, and I so much so that I was offered like to a bump up to creative executive and do stuff up there. And I said,
big shot.
I said, I'm done. I don't want anything to do with this project anymore. And I said no, because this guy was such a loser, the guy who stole it. Anyway, so but either way. That was in like 2007, and it stuck around Warner Brothers and Joel Silver for a little bit, and then it fell apart, and then it got picked up somewhere else, and then it fell apart. Then it kept more and more and more. The people that just didn't know the takes, and another person was cast, and this person was cast, and you read about what was going to be, and you're like, no, this is the first time since 2007 that I said this might be the way to go. From the guy Travis Knight, who to me did the best live action Transformers movie to date in Bumblebee. Yeah. I think that he will get the tone of this, and I like this casting of this kid. This is the first casting of Prince Adam that I said, yeah, that guy can do it. I think I think they might be able to pull this off, Mike, but maybe I'm being optimistic. What do you think?
I don't know, man. I'm coming from the old school of Dolph Lundgren. So anytime we've seen casting over the past couple of years, there are these kids. Like, I'm like, what are you going to do? Are you going to CGI? Are you going to make him work out and then CGI him like Chris Evans in Captain America and make him skinny? Like, it's a tough one. That's a tough.
Yeah, I mean, but
I don't know what they're doing. They look like kids to me. They don't look like it's he kid. It's not he man.
I don't know. This guy, I think this guy can do it, man. If you look at that movie that he did with Anne Hathaway, I think that he can definitely do it. And I do. That's always been the concern of how you do the transformation.
Yeah.
What I hope that they do, though, more so, it's the tone for me, because I actually the same conversation, and I saw somebody say it in the chat right now. My friend David Gambino, as we were sitting down, he says, "Does anybody care about that IP anymore?" And I said, "Well, it's different if you're going to compare it to, like, say, like the Falll Guy." and Masters of the Universe, because
Yeah.
if you made an epic film that's science versus magic, Lord of the Rings versus Star Wars, and it's good, it doesn't matter if you're familiar with the IP or not. In the same way, let's go ahead.
Yeah, sorry.
Whoa, good Lord, stop screaming, Indy. Screaming, look at him screaming his balls off. All right, anyway,
you talk there for a second.
I'll talk as Indy loses his mind. So either way, I think that if you made the tone this science versus magic, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars thing, and you got people interested, well, that looks just like a cool movie, and it looks like a good story, and you can set up an actual franchise, and you stay true to the essence. And I think what they really need to do is go as the same way that I wish that they would go to the G.I. Joe Marvel comic books. I would hope to, yes, I loved Masters of the Universe from the 80s cartoon, but it's cheesy. There's a lot of this essence of things that really work. It's the Cartoon Network show from 2002.
Yeah,
that's the one. That's where you get your story from. That's where you get your lore from. If you can pull that stuff and bring that to light, not enough people watch that series, but 2002, that was
I remember it. Yeah.
I
like the Kevin Smith one too, but it's funny you say that, because for me, like this, like Lord of the Rings, Dune, Furiosa, I know you don't want to throw those to studios, those names like Furiosa, because it's now they're like, well, that's the movie we didn't make anymore, so we're not gonna do it. Like I've always thought the way you think, for me, and we still haven't hit with the way I want it, like a Mortal Kombat, but done in the style of Lord of the Rings.
Sure.
Like where you take it seriously and not just for the gore factor. Like I really wanted to like that 2001 movie that came out, and now the new one, the sequel to that, but it's the same director, and they're like bringing back all the cast that died. And I'm just kind of like,
of Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, but like He-Man, I think could work if you pop the trailer out and the visuals are crazy, but you really like. I don't see. It's hard because you want that movie to look expensive, but I don't think you need like visual effect. Like if you just make these cool vistas and these cool but that's
why I trust. Yeah, that's why I trust in Travis Knight. If this was,
I like him.
I would be more skeptical in the same boat that you were of like, I don't know, these, let's say some director, I'm like, all they do is rely on CGI. They're not going to really get the essence. When I'm telling you, when I saw Bumblebee and I was just expecting another dump of a Transformers movie, and I remember sitting there with Ellis and they opened up on Cybertron. I'm like, where's this been for the last 10 years? I'm like, holy
he made a good point. He's like, they're like, why would they know to transform to these vehicles? And this is like, didn't care. You don't need to explain it.
Right.
They just transform, and that's the shape that they take. Like,
so
just go along with the ride. Like, I was upset that he got knocked off of what happened? Am I frozen?
No, you're all right. Go ahead.
Okay. I was upset he got knocked off $6 Million Man to do this, because I was him as a director. I was like, that'll finally get $6 Million Man going. But I think of all the directors that are out there, he's the one for it. I think.
I agree. I really like this. I'm optimistic, and I have not been optimistic about it.
Yeah.
But I will ask you guys the question: are you optimistic for this? Do you think it can work? Do you think that even if and I forgive me for the person who wrote that me and my friends don't really know about Masters of the Universe, nor do we care. If they put out a trailer that was a good science fiction fantasy thing, in the way that Rebel Moon tried to do it, right? Rebel Moon tried to do a fantasy science fiction movie, and it just didn't go over well, but people were excited before they saw it.
They were.
Do you guys feel the same? All right, let's move on to another topic here, and I think we had a handful of trailers, Mike. So a handful of trailers that we saw, and the first one that I watched this morning was this Wolves trailer, and this is not John Watts.
John Watts.
Is it? Yes, John Watts.
Oh, so, all right.
So watching John Watts, and I don't know what it is, and I think maybe it's just, I don't know if I'm getting older or what it might be, but I just find comfort in watching George Clooney and Brad Pitt on screen together. I don't know if it's in the Ocean's movie or they're buddies. And the premise of the fact you get the two wolves, the cleaners that show up in the same job, they're forced to work together. It's like they're using their assets of comedy and their relationship, and then we got to find a way. The only thing, like most trailers, I think they gave away too much in the trailer. I think they showed me the entire movie in the trailer.
Yeah.
But the tone itself looks interesting. Now, it's still the same question I had in the beginning of this conversation. Do I think that it's a a massive moneymaker at the box office? No, but I think it's a good time to come out in September. That if you're like, I want to go to the movies, and these two old pros are at it. But I liked the trailer. What did you think?
Yeah, I had no idea about this movie. And then you said, yeah, watch the trailer for this thing. And I'll be honest, the first 30 seconds, I'm like, oh man, this is Clooney again doing a serious movie. Did you ever see The American?
Yes.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
And I thought we were going to get that George Clooney, the serious kind of killer, cleaner thing. And then the comedy starts coming in, and I'm kind of like, okay. But then by the end, I'm like, yeah, I'll watch these guys do anything. And it looked good. Like I'm loving that. You said it's John Watts. I love that guy. Like,
yeah, old man.
I mean, I don't care the Spider-Man stuff. He did the old man,
yeah.
And that show. So
yeah.
So then I saw it, and I'm on board.
And he's doing Skeleton Crew, right?
Yeah. That's where we saw him at Star Wars. Yeah, but this movie looks great. In a September release, Shannon and I will go see that opening weekend.
September's going to be a cool kind of throwback month, because you have that movie with the old school stars, and you got Beetlejuice Part 2, which comes
that's
out
in September.
It's in September.
Okay.
So both those movies, I mean, you could, and I think that you can't look at this year with releases of like, oh, well, maybe they think, they put this movie out in January, maybe they don't like it, they put this movie out in September, because everything got just shuffled and pushed because of the strikes, and still,
right.
So all of that. I'm actually excited for this stuff going on in September, October. Well, September through December might even be way more successful than the summer. I mean, depending on what kind of comeback the summer can have, but I like this. Yeah, but I liked this trailer. And the other thing that I thought of when I was watching it is, I wonder how much this movie cost to make. And it can't be that much, because
it's Apple. So
it's Apple. Your big cost will probably come with those two guys, their salaries. And they're both producers. They both know how to save a buck on maybe the talent cost itself, and with points and everything else too. So maybe you scale back on that. Everybody else, I mean, there was, I think, Amy Ryan, who's a great actress, but I wouldn't assume super high priced. And then the kid, I don't know who that is, looks good in the movie. Give him a new shot. Do something. You can rely on the star power and the acting ability of those two, that you don't have to surround them with high priced talent and inflate your budget. I bet you that movie costs, I don't know, 40 to 60 million, I would say that movie costs, and hopefully less.
Yeah, no, I look good.
I'm gonna see if they have it yet, if they have it up there.
What do you think the voice of that, like the boss is? I bet it's Julia Roberts.
The boss, I think.
She's talking. I bet it's Julia Roberts.
Was it? It might be. It would make sense if George could probably put that phone call in, and she would do it. I didn't even.
Bullock. It'd be her Bullock.
That's true. It's true. And I wonder if they're going to do any other Ocean's movies. I just got that whole set.
Didn't they say they're doing one?
They've been talking about it. I
thought they're getting the group back. I can't remember, dude. I watched that one again recently when that 4K dropped, and there's that line about Clooney where he's like, "You think I'm 48 years old? Do I look 48?" And in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, you always look 48." And he's like 40 when that movie came out. Like, I can't believe it was almost over 20 years ago that movie came out. It's insane.
It's insane. Anyway, so I ask you. I know it's true. I ask you guys about this trailer. Did you like this trailer? Did you not like this trailer? What say you? Do you think that it can do well in September? Put your comments in there. Let's talk about it. And then there was another trailer, Mike, that came out, and that one, which was, of course, where the hell is it? I thought I had it. There it is.
Where the hell is it? Where is it?
Not that one. Where the hell is it? I can't find it. I mean, I don't have it in here. I thought I had it in here. Well, Moana. Somewhere is Moana. We'll just talk about it because I can't find the damn thing. So Moana came out today, and it was a little teaser trailer, and it basically showed Moana. This was I don't want to say direct to DVD. They don't do that, but this was going to be a streaming movie.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a streaming movie. And then Bob Iger's like, "What are we doing? Why in the world are we making Moana 2 a streaming movie? Like, what was this guy thinking? Like, let's take that movie that's finished, fix it up a little bit, and put it up in the damn theaters. What are you doing?" And I think it was the absolute right call, but it seems smaller than the first movie, which might be a blessing in disguise.
I got a question then, because I noticed it towards the end of the trailer.
Yeah.
Is that not The Rock?
It's The Rock.
Is it?
Yeah, it's The Rock.
It sounded like Bargain Basement Rock.
No, he tweeted it. He tweeted
it sounded like Stone.
No, he tweeted the trailer out today. Stone. That's a
I'm
good
gonna
one.
kill myself today.
That's good. You'll be here all week.
That one.
You got to get you up on stage before I leave.
Hey, yeah, there you go.
I know.
Ready to go.
But yeah, so the Stone. My God. Dust Stone. Dust Stone. Either way, the trailer itself, this is yet another movie to put into that conversation that we had with Despicable Me, Inside Out, Garfield. This is another movie that could elevate the box office, which is the kids movie. Because did you like, Wolf, what did you think of this trailer, first of all?
Moana?
Yeah. Whatever. Did you like the first one?
I found myself drifting off and doing other stuff on my desk. They're not for me.
Yeah, okay.
And that's okay. Not every movie that comes out has to be for this middle-aged white dude.
It's true. Well, I'll tell you the other thing with Moana, the first one, is that it's still a one of the most played movies on Disney Plus.
Now, aren't they doing a live action of that too?
Yes, but that doesn't come out.
So when you said trailer this morning, I'm like, that's already got a trailer. That's what I thought.
Yeah, no. I think that one either comes out in 2025, the end of, or 2026. But yeah, there's no. I mean, they got to. We'll see. You know what? I was thinking about The Rock today because he had that first image of Mark Kerr.
Yeah.
That A24 movie, and I had Matt Serra react to that when he saw it.
Yeah,
and he said it just looks just like him. But that movie is going to, I think, make people look at The Rock in a different light if the acting performance comes out the way that we think it will. But I was thinking about, where we are in like kind of the gotcha moments type things. And an article that came out against The Rock, the peeing in the bottles.
Oh, yeah.
That article seemed to do absolutely nothing. Nothing. It did nothing.
It's interesting. I don't know. And he didn't come out with anything against it.
Didn't say anything about it.
I wonder if his people are smart enough to just let it go. It's a stupid.
Everyone
in Hollywood's got their quirks.
No,
to me, what bothered me about that, and again, that was coming off of kind of his whole trying to steamroll DC. You saw a side of them where his business savvy, you're kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is the best look. Like, say what you will about him, but Tom Cruise also has a business savvy that's a lot different. Like, he's the guy making sure you're showing up on time and doing your job. Everyone on set is there to make a movie and love movies. Whereas The Rock, that article seemed a little different. It makes me look at the Fast and Furious argument a little bit different with him and Vin and see what was different.
Sure.
So I've kind of soured on him for a while. Like, I want to go back to The Rock of the Rundown, like that guy.
Yeah. I mean, maybe so. And I think, and that's fair to say, like, if people were getting tired of him or whatnot. I'm just saying that in like 7 years ago, if that article comes out, I think there's going to be a lot more damage because everybody was just looking to throw darts at people and try to get people in trouble. And they tried to do that with him in this one. And I'm not excusing the behavior.
No.
If the behavior was what they say it was, and it turns out, it's crappy to show up to the thing late. It's crappy to do these things, but I'm just saying that the intent of the article.
Let me ask you this.
No one's talking about that article at all.
Right. But let me ask you this. Do you think no one's talking about the article because everyone's kind of moved on from him? Like, he's not what he was 3 years ago. So,
dude, there's people way less stars of him that, again, 5-6 years ago they said something. I mean, look at the stuff like Richard Dreyfuss now, right? Richard Dreyfuss, which very different circumstances, but people are going after Richard Dreyfuss right now, and Richard Dreyfuss hasn't been relevant in what? 15
yeah, but I think the Dreyfuss stuff, he was attacking.
Right.
Rock's just pissing in bottles and being late. Like, it doesn't affect anyone but the people around.
That's what I mean, though, is that they tried to get him on that article.
Yeah.
And it was just like, no one's talking about that article. It's not because they don't care. It's because they're just like, whatever. He pisses in bottles and he shows up late.
Is people who are kind of telling him, just cool your jets on this one. Don't say anything.
Yeah,
it's going to go away. That money well spent with those guys, whoever was backing him and telling him what to do.
Yeah, it'll go away. People will yell about this, and tomorrow they'll be yelling about something else. It'll go away, and they're right.
And then he'll get a sponsorship with Voss Water for the next movie.
I'm sure, absolutely.
Watch,
absolutely. He'll probably buy Voss Water. Anyway, so curious with you guys what you think overall about what we just talked about with The Rock, what we just talked about the two trailers. Let me get into this because I see it. There's a bunch of questions in there. We're going to get to all of them. Let me do one more news story here, and then we'll. I'll bring this up. This one's from Mike.
Look at that fella.
Here you go. So you got This is apparently, they said that James Gunn with Deathstroke. They said Deathstroke might actually have a role in the DCU. We'll see. Where is it? It's somewhere. But this was something that I was so curious because of Joe Manganiello at one point. I guess it was supposed to have like a bigger role doing this, but now apparently Deathstroke might be coming to the DCU. This is Garth Franklin over at Dark Horizons. DC Studios chief James Gunn interacted with fans on his personal Instagram, and he revealed that the DC villain Deathstroke is going to play a part in the DCU sometime in the coming years. Gunn did a post of himself in a Superman comic book t-shirt, and a fan asked Gunn to wink if he had plans for Deathstroke. He responded with a winking emoji. In the comics, Slade Wilson is one of Batman's most iconic antagonists, an assassin known for his bicolored protective gear and deathly accuracy. Joe Manganiello briefly played the character in the end of Zack Snyder's Justice League, but he is arguably best known as the primary antagonist of the second season of the CW's Arrow, with Manu Bennett in the role across multiple seasons. Gunn has continued to offer steady updates on DC projects, most recently offering an update on Superman filming, which last week was just past the halfway mark of its shoot, and confirming that Frank Grillo appeared on the screen in the second season of Peacemaker. The DC universe kicks off with the Creature Commando series later this year, followed by Superman next year. All right, Mike. So this is a big role, right? So, and people love this guy. So what do you, this will Batman Brave, what's it, Brave and the Bold? Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So that movie probably comes out first and then they introduce him, right?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I love the way he's handling. People are sometimes like, get off social media and just do your movies. Like, he's handling this so well. The fact that Superman's over halfway done filming, we haven't got any set leaks except that one picture of the engineer in her outfit. Like, they're handling this thing perfectly. And I think, and I'll tell you this, knowing James Gunn and what he's doing with staying the true to the comics, I bet Deathstroke doesn't even go into Batman. I bet he's going to be with the Teen Titans because they've announced that film. And kind of pop culture and fandom has taken Deathstroke and made him a big bad Batman baddie, and he's not. He is a Titans villain. And him and Nightwing have a lot of history, but I guarantee he pops up in Titans, and that's where he is.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think, I mean, it was a cool thing what they did with Manganiello and Batman, and then Affleck was going to take that, and that was going to be his script, because he's a formidable kind of matching with Batman level of, intellect and prowess, but he's a Titans villain, and I think Gunn, knowing what he's doing, is going to put him in Titans film.
Yeah, I mean, I have no dog in the fight. It's like, to me, it's very similar to what I was talking about with Masters of the Universe. If it's a good character, I don't need to know anything about the character. If I learn about the character for the first time in the DCU, I mean, minus the stuff I saw from Joe Manganiello, but like if I learn a little bit more in depth about it, and that's how because I didn't watch the Arrow show, I didn't watch any of that stuff, so I don't know. But all I know is hearing people like yourself talk about the character anytime anybody would bring that up on whatever shows we were doing, people were very excited about the character.
Yeah, the best Deathstroke they've done is there's an animated, I think it was like Knights and Dragons, it was called.
Okay.
That's really good.
Okay. Well, what do you think, guys? Is this the place to do it? Is Deathstroke going to be the right character to bring in? When are we going to see him? Put your comments in there. Let me know. And now it's time for your questions. And I saw there's so many different questions in there, and you can still put as many in there until you're done asking them, and then we'll sign off when they're done. But before I do want to tell you guys about two of our favorites here. This is the Perfect Gene and AG1, and then we'll get to those questions. Here we go. I want to tell you guys, and I've talked to you about it before, the Perfect Gene. Have you guys? I've been talking about the Perfect Gene recently. If you've been on watching this, you know that I've been talking about them. I was wearing them the whole time in New York. God, I really, they're so comfortable. They're really, really comfortable. So if you didn't know, the good news about it, and I like to be classy here, Perfect Gene has uncrushed over 350,000 men's nuts, and yours are next. It's not just another pair of your stiff cardboard jeans, and they're definitely not your pancake butt sweatpants or joggers. They make you look great. You got perfect fitting jeans that are stretchy as a kangaroo's pouch, and they hug your ass. That's in the right place. You like that? I do too. The special denim fabric is very soft, and doesn't matter if you're thick, you're short, anything in between, the Perfect Jean has you covered. It's got 6 fits from skinny to thick, waist sizes from 26 to 50, and lengths from 26 to 38. They got the perfect size just for you. So trust us when we say these truly are the effing perfect jeans. Once you try them, you're never going to go back. So if you go to theperfectjean.nyc and you use that code BigThing15, you get 15% off. That's right. You can just Google the perfect jean and use that code BigThing15. I love these things, guys. I've been since I got involved with them, they signed on for longer because I've been wearing them. I talk about how much I love them, and I hope that you guys do too. As I saw a bunch of people that were signing up to it, and they said they were pretty comfortable. So check them out and let me know what you think. Our buddies over at AG1. AG1. For the longest time, I keep talking about AG1, and why wouldn't I? AG1 is the best because, as you guys know, and I've talked about it many times already, I didn't really pay attention back in the day of what I was putting in my body and all these vitamins, and I'm taking a lot of vitamins. I didn't know if I could do it. Yeah, I read labels and I verify that everything's up to the quality I need, sure. But that's why I started drinking AG1 every day. It's a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrition and gut health support, and is backed by multiple research studies so you can trust what you're putting in your body. So you guys know I'm busy. I'm doing this stuff all the time, and I'm on the move. I drink AG1 in the morning before I do breakfast, before I'm in the studio, before I make the coffee. It makes me feel like I can get it all done. And I'm just covering all my nutritional bases too, which is great. It has helped my energy out. I have been you guys see, and I've gotten a lot of comments talking about how you can tell that AG1 has been helping me. 91% of participants noticed that they needed less coffee after 60 days of drinking AG1. I've definitely cut down my coffee intake because of AG1. It's got immune and digestive support that are essential to my daily health, and it turns out that the two are totally connected. There was a research study that showed that AG1 doubled the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut, which can help support digestion and immune health. In a recent research study, AG1 was also shown to double the amount of healthy bacteria in your gut. So if there's one product that I trust to support my whole body health, it's AG1. And that's why I partnered with them for so long. You guys know, you keep hearing about them, and that's why. It's easy and it's satisfying to start the journey with AG1. You got to try AG1. You get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3, K2, and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase at drinkag1.com/bigthing. drinkag1.com/bigthing. Check it out. Okay. So once again, if you can, and you want to support the show, and you can support the show, please get yourself something. Try them. Perfect Jean, AG1. All right. So there you go. Thank you to AG1 and Perfect Jean. I appreciate it very much. And Mike, we got some good questions. You want to hear these questions?
Fire away.
All right. So as I told you guys, as you are putting the comments in there, we'll be here until the very last one. So I'm very thankful to all the ones that are already in there. We'll do some more. And Mike Joyce, it's the first one. Immortan Joe, Lord Humongous, Dementus. What would your Max Warlord name be? Let's see. Show some Classius.
I got mine.
What?
Scrotus erectus.
I actually think that's one of the names in there.
Scrotus erectus?
Something like that. It's one of the two brothers, I think. Something along those lines.
Scrotus and erectus?
Something like that. And then Mike follows it up with Kalinowski should have been cast as He-Man. I actually think he should have been Nathan Drake. I actually think he could have done it.
Oh, yeah. That's why I wouldn't. That movie. Oh my God. Stop.
Yeah, it's just a different movie.
No.
It's just a different movie. I like both those guys, but it's just a different movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Trash Panda. Snyder's newsletter has it right. The studios are spending too much on concepts that the public didn't demand. I agree. I mean, yeah, you can make movies and take shots on movies, but if you're going to spend that kind of money on an IP like Falll Guy, which is a good movie, but that much money, even $120-130 million on IP that's not proven, and is very old. I agree with Snyder as well. Mike's here though.
What?
Perfect.
All right, you answered the question.
Okay, but you can answer it too. Mike Joyce says, "Did you see the next Mission Impossible movie is going to cost $400 million, and that might be delayed due to a submarine malfunction?" Oh my God, is that true?
Well, I saw that article, but then someone had said that the article was basically from Britain's version of the Inquirer. It was like a tabloid, but I mean, they were on hold for the strike, so that was 6 months. delayed, so they're going to be burning money through that. Like that production though, of the two of them over 5 years has been one of the most beleaguered productions I've ever seen. Like COVID strikes, splitting into 2 movies.
400, is that 400 combined?
I don't know, dude. I don't know, because they'd said 300 for Dead Reckoning, but I say 210 because 80 of that was the paying the entire crew for 7 months. So, but again, it is their budget, so that's you got to include it. But the actual movie only cost that. Right. I mean,
sure,
those movies, like I said, they always end up on the screen.
Yeah.
Like for me, a good example that summer, Disney with Dial Destiny, where that money was on the screen, I have no idea. But Mission Impossible.
Well, that was a COVID thing.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. COVID, but like Mission Impossible, those movies, they're traveling the world. It's on the screen. The money's there, but it still doesn't excuse a $400 million budget. But apparently, it's like a $20 million submarine that they're filming and didn't work.
It's $400 million movie. It's like, what are you doing? We're not like, it is so much harder these days to throw that $1 billion dart and hit the bullseye. It is so much harder than it was in 2017, 2018. I think $400 million. I mean, oof. Okay, so this is Trash Panda. I'm predicting a comedy comeback. Someone will make a $20 million film, a $20 million film with a major comeback, and it'll do hangover numbers. Budget and script are the key. That's the way you got to do it. You've got to do it with, you've got to find, like, there's so many great comedians out there, comedic actors that haven't been discovered yet, people who are looking for their breaks. That's ultimately what was happening with The Hangover. Find a script, do something for it. I think 20 million is harder to do, but maybe 40, and try to get people into the theater to see a comedy again. That's how you do it. It's just harder to do. You can't do big budget movies.
I mean, what did what's it called? Anyone But You. I mean, that did incredibly well.
It did, and it didn't cost.
It didn't cost anything, I think.
No, Anyone But You budget was 25 million.
Yeah, and it made over 100 million. So there you go.
Let's see, box office, 219.
Holy shit,
that's a hit. That's a big hit, and it's doing well on streaming. So that's a big hit. So to go off of his point, if you did more stuff like that, and like today, you're not able to make that movie for 25 million because you're going to have to pay more money for Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney because
you're not getting him back for a sequel.
They cost more now, unless you signed him for a contract in the beginning. But they cost more. But you can do what you did here in the first place and find people like that. Was my point. Is like people who are on the up and up. Get them. Do that.
Yeah.
All right. So we got some more questions here today. Carlton Rudder. Great Carlton Rudder. London Calling. Shout out to Mike. Huge fan. Nice to see Kristian's beard growing back. Hope to catch Kristian live soon for the Patreon Q&A. Yeah, we do. Thank you, man. Thank you for joining. We do the live Q&A once a month. We do a special Big Thing episode once a month that's exclusive for the patrons. So if you haven't joined, be like Carlton. Join us over there today. So let's see. Al Rensha. Better credit scenes. Tropic Thunder or Peacemaker? I don't remember the Tropic Thunder.
I don't either.
Peacemaker's credits that dance is just the best. Love that stupid dance. I'm only saying Peacemaker because I remember it. I don't remember is the Tropic Thunder.
Was it like bloopers?
Was it all the mock movies?
Maybe.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Did you know that Glenn Powell was in The Dark Knight? Rises.
He was the banker.
Yeah, he did. Okay. Darth Archie. That's hilarious, Archie. Did you make that movie? Did you make this profile because of my story, or was that just because of random? Archie, this is Archie. Pisses on this freaking bag. Hey, Kristian, love the show, man. Hearing Filoni wants a live-action Clone Wars show. Have they beaten that horse into glue? It's like freaking Star Wars Groundhog Day. I need Andy McDowell to snap me out of it. No, I think that what he said was that they wanted to do a mini-series, a live-action mini-series. I'm down for that. I think that if you can recapture what you did there with Hayden Christensen, and I forget the girl's name, the one who was in Endgame, and she was in Infinity War. She's in Infinity War. She played young Gamora. She's also young Ahsoka.
Oh yes, yeah.
She's in tons of stuff. But she if you got her and you got Hayden Christensen to do that, and then you brought in Ewan McGregor. A miniseries, I think you can do some fun stuff with that. I think a fun and maybe branch the prequels together a little bit more, I'm not opposed to it. I still think that you'd have to do better deep fake stuff to Hayden than you did you did it better in Ahsoka, but than you did in that freaking Obi-Wan series. It was nothing. I mean, the guy looked like he was 45 years old. So, but I'm down. I don't dislike the idea. I'm sorry. I know that even though people think that I'm a Star Wars hater these days, I actually like the idea of that one. Okay. Never lose your nerd. All I'm waiting for is X-Men to save the MCU. I think X-Men they need saving before the X-Men. They need X-Men to carry the ball once it's been revitalized. They need them to carry the ball over the finish line. Did you like the X-Men 97 series?
I did.
You did, right?
But here's my thing with the X-Men.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone is loving what we're getting of the X-Men so far. To me, that's X-Men with a fresh coat of paint. You know, Professor X popping up, then Beast, now Wolverine. I want this Deadpool movie. I want the end with the X-Men done. And when we get them in the MCU, they're completely new actors, completely new looks. I can't have that Fox version in there.
Right.
They were there. They're done.
Yeah, they're done. They got to change it. Tim Sim, great Tim Sim. Me, who enjoyed everything MCU post-Endgame, even Thor: Love and Thunder. Here they're subpar. Oof. I love that you love it, Tim. I love that you love it. I'm glad that you do. But let's call it what it is. For the majority of the public, it's subpar. That's why there's all these conversations and everything too. And for people who love it, like yourself, I think that's amazing.
Even Hemsworth, he's like, yeah,
even Hemsworth.
Far.
Yeah. So, but it seems like when you do consensus stuff, consensus is that it's been subpar. But there's certainly people like yourself, other people who enjoyed everything that's coming out in the same way that people enjoy. That's why I'm curious about the Acolyte, right? Because the Acolyte, they had that event, and there were a lot of people who came out saying that they loved it. Now the question is it people who just want to just take in Star Wars and say, look, it's Star Wars, I'll love it, and it's great? Or is it people who are like, look, I heard there was one person who wasn't too excited about it, who came out going, that was a damn good, those episodes they showed us were pretty damn good. I'm curious about that, and I'm curious because that's right around the corner. Okay, so then the next one is Ronetta W. Hey guys, just finished watching X-Men 97 and I loved it. Creators did a phenomenal job. Magneto is a zaddy. And why the hell was I attracted to an animated cartoon? Damn. Anyway, looking forward to season 2. Yeah. The question is going to be, it looks like, I can't remember if it was Coy or Winston that said this, but the real test is going to be season 3, because Bo DeMeo already mapped out season 2 and they can follow his outline. The question is, can they sustain without Bo DeMeo? And time will tell. I don't know how many.
It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, but you loved it.
I did. Yeah. I don't have as big a fond memories of the original version of it, because I remember it was during the heyday of like Batman the Animated Series. So to watch that show, the animation was nowhere near as good. The storytelling was always good. So to see it with modern animation with the same type of level of storytelling, and the fact that they made Wolverine like a bit character, I loved that. Loved that.
Chris Daniel, should theaters make Monday through Wednesday $5 day to gain some business? Congrats on the move, Kristian. Mike, have you gone to what's HHN?
Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh,
yes. When I lived in Orlando, I lived there for 10 years. I worked Halloween Horror Nights for about 10 years. So if you ever saw the Bill and Ted show, any of those years, there's a very good chance you saw me.
Who were you?
Every year I was someone different. I was Jack Sparrow. I was Fred from Scooby-Doo.
What about in the Bill and Ted show? Who were you in Bill and Ted?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, they had
it's a pop culture. I was Leonidas from 300.
I see.
Christian Bale.
Nice.
Man.
Well, to answer the question, I think doing $5 days at theaters is a very good idea. I think that theaters need to do that. You don't have to change the ticket price, the concession stand prices, but changing theater prices, I do think it's a very good idea. And I think studios should try anything that they can right now and work with the theaters to do it. And thank you on the move. Yeah, we're pushing forward, man. Galaghost, there he is. Hey fellas, is there a chance that studios will back off from the same month digital releases if it starts to cannibalize the box office enough? No, because I think the Falll Guy proves, I don't know how true that is. Because
I don't think they will.
No, because look at the Falll Guy. The Falll Guy, they put in video demand, and the drop off in theater was not big at all. It was less than when it wasn't on video demand. And I think that the other reason when they put it in the same month, it's $25 to get it. You can go and you can buy probably 2 tickets for that, for close to that much, close to it, unless you're going to get concessions and stuff. So no, I don't think there's any chance that they're going to back off from it. Do you agree?
I agree 100%. They're not going to learn a lesson. They're not thinking about it like that. Like, oh no, look what we did. They're like, well, if it doesn't hit opening week, Friday morning I wake up and I see the numbers aren't hitting there, putting it streaming in 2 weeks because we're going to try and get as much money out of this as we can.
Right.
That's what
John Bravina. Lucasfilm just dropped an early theatrical fan screening for The Acolyte. Will you be going? Seems similar to the Ahsoka screening. No, I think the one that they did is similar to that Ahsoka screening. Happened already at the El Capitan. That was like last week. But no, I'm going to be watching it. I'm going to be watching it when it drops. How about you, Mike?
I'm watching when it drops. Yeah.
Okay. Darth Archie again. Please, no CGI overdose for Masters of the Universe. I want to see some mind-blowing practical effects, something like Ridley Scott's Legend. I'm with you.
Ooh, Legend. That's a good analogy for it. Yeah.
If they do something like that, that's why I want to see what Travis Knight pulls off, man. I hope they don't oversee. I'm with both you guys on that. Okay. And this is Galagos. I got Rocket Money. Yes. That's how you do it. To save for the wedding. It flagged super chats for the show, and I went, not a chance. Here's another 5 to make it clear. Cheers. Yeah, I do love that they do that, though. They'll tell you if there's like, is this an unauthorized choice? Like that you want to do. They let you know when you're spending money, and then you just approve it. It's incredible. So I'm glad you got it. Josh Needle. They need to bring back 90-day windows and make audiences feel the need to go to the movies. I don't disagree with that. The wait for home media used to be part of the experience. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it did. And I remember being so disappointed. I'd be like, man, I got to wait 6 months before I can buy this. That sucks.
Right. Yeah. I remember a year before it was on HBO.
I don't, but again, it's different. I'm not of a mind where I'm like, I'm going to wait for it to come onto home to the Blu-ray to buy it. Like, and I don't do streaming. I don't buy streaming movies. So I'm waiting like 45 days. I think it is now.
Yeah. Tim Sim. Thank you, Tim. That's very generous of you, my friend. A convo I had on this summer's box office, somebody told me he's not surprised because streaming is becoming the norm for non-blockbusters and even fall Oscar contenders because more people can't afford to go out to theaters due to bad company, and experience right now sucks. Yeah. And we touched on it briefly, Mike, that like people just are so ill-behaved in movie theaters. It's like it really dampens the experience.
I guess maybe because it's LA and there's a more of a kind of everyone's probably in the industry that's seeing that movie.
Right.
So it's a little, I haven't had a bad experience in LA aside from the people who they keep talking a little bit. Like I've been lucky.
Yeah.
I don't suffer fools. So
thank you, Tim. And yeah, so I think you're right though, Tim. I think your friend's right too. It's the economy. It's all those other things. So very tough. Exalted 10. Will there be a possibility of crossover between Kristian Harloff and Lights Camera Barstool? They're also based in New York and would be a good blend. I'd like to. I reached out to Jeff, because what's funny is Jeff used to work, I think, was it Entertainment Tonight? I can't remember what it was, but he was a big Collider fan, and then he became a Schmodown fan, and he used to write me how much he loved the Schmodown and thought it was a great idea. And then he started his own trivia thing, actually, and I'm assuming he was inspired by the Schmodown, and they're crushing it on their trivia show that they do over there. They've turned it into a league like we did, and I'd love to do stuff with Jeff and all those guys. They're great. Okay, let's see. We'll keep going. I think we got a few more. Ryan King, The Fall Guy. The story is dumb. The first 30 minutes are hard to get through. It's too long, and the antagonist of the film is a cartoon character. I mean, okay, I don't agree, but I can see I just thought it was a big, dumb, fun movie. I think that was the whole point of the movie. But it did, as you can probably attest to, Mike, is that it did stray away from the essence of what the Fall Guy TV show
is. When I first heard that they weren't going to make him a bounty hunter, I'm kind of like, that's the whole point of the show.
Right.
But I get what they were doing. So I was kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, I went for the ride. But I mean, look, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it. It seemed like most people who saw it liked it. But Tim, crushing today, Tim. Thank you, buddy. And he also told me that he thinks it's inevitable that streaming will overtake the theaters, even if Deadpool and Wolverine save the summer, because the wages are stagnant. More people are losing jobs, and current events right now are putting movies on the wayside. I think The only thing about that is what I said before. I don't ever think that movie theaters are ever going to be fully replaced. Now, whether the chains like the AMCs and the Regals and things of that nature go away, maybe. But I don't think that movie theaters will ever go away because of, I think that directors will always want to fight for it. I think the studios will wind up having their own movie theaters if that's the case. I think other people will have to. I think the theater experience will always be alive, but maybe not the way we know it today. Here he is, Haskell, 420. Hey guys, it'd be so awesome if Wolf's is a spinoff of Pulp Fiction's Harvey Keitel's Winston Wolfe. They're doing the exact job he did. I know it very, very different tones, though. Don't you think, Mike?
Yeah. Who knows?
Not the best color commentator in the world for nothing.
That's right, pal.
Pete Parker, 2288. Hey, you, Pete Parker. Made a little reference to you the other day, my friend. But he always is in here putting in super chats and everything too. And I got nothing but love for Pete. But comment the other day, Pete. Come on, man. Furiosa was a little long, but it was amazing in Dolby. Miller is 79 and making more exciting action scenes that the other directors half his age. I mean, I agree. It was a little long, but I didn't care about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious because I read his Justice League Mortal script.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm curious what he would have. The script, I don't know, it's always a blueprint for what you start with and what you end with. I would have killed to see his Justice League film, seeing what he did with the 2 Mad Max films.
Yeah, that would have been interesting. Simon Section regarding the Masters of the Universe Amazon movie. I hope it doesn't take place on Earth. Same page.
They won't do that.
Please. They did it in they did it on your Dolph Lundgren one.
I loved it.
Oh, come on. Well, we see He-Man and Teela eating cheeseburgers. They brought the cheeseburgers up in John Woo with doves flying in slow motion in the background with a Chili Tea rap song. Yeah, if it wasn't Travis Knight, I would say fear that. But Travis, I can't imagine Travis Knight's going to do that. Yeah, Mike, you were going to say something. Then you stopped.
No, just the original idea was very little on Earth, and then the budget got slashed, and they're like, well, let's just make the beginning and the end on Eternia, and they're on Earth, and the making of that movie is fascinating. It's incredible.
Yeah. Our buddy again, Pete Parker, 2288. Is the Dreyfus impression officially retired now? Speaking of Thomas Jane, just watched 61 where he plays Mickey Mantle. Good sportsman. Yeah, he was great to talk to. I love
Thomas Jane.
Did you see the interview?
No.
You got to watch it. It's really good. I asked him about Marvel, and if he's
well, you always see actors when they're going to get like a first role or something, and you're like, this guy's going to be something. I remember Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah,
I'd never seen him before. I was like, who is this guy? He's going to be good.
Boogie Nights.
That was after, I think.
Oh, Boogie Nights was before.
But he's not the lead. He's just a great actor. I want the money in the fucking safe that's in the fucking room.
Yeah. Yeah,
that scene, man. Oh,
yeah.
The firecracker kid.
Dreyfus, I want you to smell me.
What's with this movie? What's with the trans dressing? I'm a man.
Where does that come from? It's a jaw screening. All right,
man's a man, a woman's a woman, and a shark's a shark. Right?
Matt McClure, Kristian, why the move? Sorry, I've already spoken. I just didn't know what happened. Cheering you on.
Because he hates me.
Yeah, I want to get away from Mike. A lot of different reasons. One, close to family. Two, as I've mentioned to people many times over, I'm not moving to Manhattan. It's a lot cheaper to live. Just for an example of what when I left here by the airport, the gas was almost $7. When I got to the place I'm living, it was $3.35. It's flush, it's green, it's nice, and I have a studio there that it would probably cost me 5 times what it does there, and I set up a whole thing. I get good space. And I'm able to do what I need to do there. And I can go into the city. I take a train into the city to watch the screenings. I went and saw Furiosa in the city, and it was great. So it's just it's a change. And I've been here a long time. Time to go. Trash Panda. Bad Boys will be fine. Will Smith was a surprise guest at Coachella last month. They did the Men in Black rap. Crowd went nuts. We're over the slap. I couldn't agree more. I think people are done with it. It's like in the same way that they're just it's forgiving. And I think that people are, and he took his licks from Rock.
Yeah, he did.
Did you read this yet? Did you see this? The Luisto Arana. What did you think of the book Heat 2? I haven't read it yet. I have it, but I haven't read it.
I've not read it yet either.
I'm excited to, but I'm also skeptical because I'm like, or hesitant because I just don't know if they're going to pull it off in the theater.
The book is a prequel, but it also is a sequel.
Yeah,
It takes
both.
2. So I'm like, I
Is
think the movie's
Pacino
gonna.
in it? Is Pacino supposed to be in?
I think he is.
I don't know. Renee Reyes. I heard a rumor that Disney announced that Moana will transition to a male in the sequel. Did you guys know? Come on.
Come on.
Come on. All right, let's see. Next one is. Let's see. I think is that it? Nope. We got another Armada. Corey Coleman, that's my boy, has been doing comedy shows in New York every month or so currently. Maybe you go collab in New York. I'd love to. Corey's one of my favorite people in the world. He's hilarious. He's a really good guy. Him and Martin, both really, really good dudes. I would love to do something with them again. All right, this is the last one. Here it is. Joseph DePina, big fan of you guys both. Finally catching a live show. Any news on the new Tom Holland Spider-Man movie? Any final prediction for Deadpool opening? Opening weekend, I'm going to say a little over 200. But I think as far as the news on Spider-Man movie, they still haven't decided. Is it going to be more grounded Spider-Man? There's a report that I think that the villains are going to be Goblin and Doc Ock again, probably new ones. What do you think, Mike?
I'm kind of Spider-Man out right now.
Are you?
Yeah, I think
Too much.
Yeah,
You can take Batman all day long, though. They put 87 Batmans out. You don't. That's your thing.
Because that's my thing. But they're always changing him, with Batman. Yeah. Spider-Man always they keep him in that same little area.
Yeah. All right. This is the last one. Armada. Do you think we'll get another Apes movie before the next Mad Max movie? 100%. 100%. But for a lot of different reasons. One,
I think they're finishing that Apes, whatever, like 9 films they want them to make. I think we're going to get all of them.
I mean, as long as they don't eat like a big pile of turds, and this movie didn't eat turds, and it'll do well on it'll do well. It'll do well. So, all right, that's it, Mike. Thanks for joining me here today, man. Where can the people find you?
At Mike Kalinowski, social media. That's where it is. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple. All right, guys. For you, thank you so much for being here today on this special kind of live episode. I feel like we're going to do more live episodes, and especially one of the things I didn't talk to you about is Mike, but one of the things I was thinking about maybe doing is combining the Roxy Brett show with our show and doing like a big kind of almost like SEN live show where it's me, you, Steph, Roxy, Brett, like together live once a week.
Okay.
I thought that might be fun.
Yeah, that personalities, that's always going to be fun.
That'll be fun. So there's a lot to come, a lot here. So thanks for joining here. Apple Podcast, Spotify, once again. Anywhere podcasts are found. Was one more that I'll throw in there. Like I said, Pete Parker. Yeah, hate was a strong word, and that's my bad. All forgiven. You're the man.
Yeah, what a good dude.
Yeah, I love him. He's nice, and I gave him all the props in the beginning. But yes, I've been disappointed, but I don't hate it. All right, thanks for joining us again, guys. You guys are the best. For Mike Kalinowski, I'm me. You're you. See you later.